Your inner voice is more than just a thought or a feeling. It's the gentle nudge of divine guidance. It's the spark of intuition, the clarity in moments of doubt, the quiet knowing that leads you back to your truth. This voice comes from a place beyond ego and fear, a place connected to the infinite wisdom of the universe. When you pause to listen, you'll realize it's always been there, speaking through your heart, dreams, and even your challenges. The inner voice is how the divine whispers to us, guiding us toward our highest potential and the path meant just for us. In honoring this guidance, we align with love, abundance, and purpose, creating a life that feels not only meaningful, but also deeply sacred. Welcome to The Inner Voice, the podcast where we explore the whispers of your soul, uncover your truest desires, and navigate life's challenges through connection, intuition, and inner wisdom. I am Samantha Diaz. I'm a passionate guide for those seeking alignment, healing, and fulfillment in all aspects of life. Here, we hold space for heart-centered conversations, transformative insights, and the tools to live authentically, rooted in your deepest truth. Join me as we dive into stories of growth, self-discovery, and empowerment, helping you tune in to the inner voice that's been guiding you all along. Let's embark on this journey together. Your inner voice is calling. Are you ready to listen? It's not just whispers. It's actually a sacred part of you, of your inner wisdom, of your inner knowing. And if you look back and you really think about it, and you think about all of the messages and guidance that your innate wisdom has been leading you through, it's been leading you closer and closer to your authenticity. And this is important because we have all incarnated here in this lifetime to be authentic, to learn lessons, and lessons that all lead us towards our more authentic self. Why is this important? Because a lot of us are searching for answers, and a lot of the things happening now in the physical realm in front of us are not necessarily all inspiring or motivating, or it can sometimes make us feel like we're running a hamster wheel and there's no end to it. So why is it important to know and distinguish between the inner voice and anything else? Because your inner voice is actually unique to you. It's sacred to you, because only your inner voice can guide you to your authenticity. And in the experience that we live in now, we are easily influenced by outside sources, our parents, society, culture, our expectations, societal norms. But this is a part of your soul that's yours and nobody else's. It doesn't seek validation or approval. And so when you start listening and nourishing this part of you, you can really find this life that you choose, a life that gives you fulfillment and purpose. And it's also the reason why you incarnated. This is a general statement. The reason why you incarnated is to be your authentic self. Your soul only wants you to be authentic. So if we can really understand this part of us, then we can live lives of more alignment, connecting back to the infinite wisdom that is within, and start cultivating authenticity within, which then cultivates authenticity all around us, giving permission to those around us to be more authentic. And then we just start healing the world, you guys. It's that big of a deal. And it starts from within. It's an individual type of lesson and individual work that needs to be done. And I say that because from my own experience, I know what it's like to stop listening. I know what it's like to feel like you are so detached from your truth that it becomes painful to actually be, to exist, because you know for fact that you are not listening to that inner guidance within. So this is what the inner voice is about. And I have to say, before I even get started, that I would have never imagined that I had this platform, coaching experience, this divine connection, like to be a channel of light language and to be explaining frequency and sharing ways for people to connect deeply to their spiritual selves. I never would have thought, but I kind of did. Like my entire life growing up as a kid, like I always dreamed of having like a mic in front of me. I feel like it just feels right. And I would always try to do speeches and be motivational, and I just always wanted that role. And when I had my kids and when I had these challenges come up in relationships where it was kind of pushing me to be more true to myself, challenges only present themselves to you in order for you to be closer to your authentic self. And when I was faced with these challenges, I kept feeling the nudge, like, do your podcast, do your YouTube, like make a platform and just share your story. And I just have to sit in gratitude first before I even continue, because this is really such an honor and it's so exciting for me. And I hope that whatever flows through me here is pure and from love. And I hope that you, whoever's on the end of this, receiving this and listening, that you receive it only with love, and that you know that whatever is said here is only meant to be shared with the purest intentions of inspiring you to find your authenticity and to create something and to be in your fullest expression, because that is why we're here. And I talk a lot about light, I talk a lot about light language, and it can be a little bit like over there, like on the end of the spectrum of like, woo, like this girl is like really connected, or like it's almost like just weird. But I think the whole point is that we're all fucking weird and it's okay to be. And if there's something that resonates, that means that there is a light within you as well that is wanting to shine, that is wanting to be expressed, and is just wanting to take up space. And so that is my intention here, and I'm so honored. And I just thank you guys for whoever is on the other side of this. I really hope that you can take something away and that you can be your damn self, because if you deprive yourself from being authentic, you are depriving the world of your gifts. And the world needs you right now. The world needs more light. There's just way too much darkness. There's way too much anger, hostility, criticism, judgment. There's way too much division. And that's not what this is about. Light, frequency, authenticity is about coming back to home to ourselves, to our truth. So let's talk about how to recognize the inner voice, because sometimes it can be a little convoluted in all of the voices in your head, as well as what's going on in the external. So you can distinguish, and there's only really one way, and you're not going to like it, but it's meditation. And meditation doesn't have to be sitting and being like, oh, although that actually is really powerful, basic meditation. But you can meditate when you are doing something you love, when you're drawing, when you are making music, when you are fixing something, when you're doing something that really just zones you out and connects you to your truth, to your inner joy. Meditation is powerful. Breath work is, the word spirit in Latin means the one that breathes. So when you are breathing, you are connecting, you are actually opening up to spirit. That is just a powerful way, something I incorporate every day. But it doesn't have to be that complicated. You can literally just be quiet in your thoughts. And you guys know how hard that is. So it's something that takes practice. And there's a difference between knowing and doing. There really is. And there's a reason why it's hard. And people say, oh, it's hard and I don't like meditating, I can't do it. It's because, yeah, it's hard to be in your thoughts. Sometimes just sitting there and being in your thoughts can bring up emotions, and humans don't like emotions. A lot of times we don't want to sit in our truth because our truth happens to be angry or sad or like lonely, and nobody wants to feel those feelings. They're deemed unwanted. But when you sit in the feelings, you can really know what it is that is trying to come through. When you sit in your feelings, that's when you can change them. That's when you can transform them. So there's no way around it, sitting in stillness. Feeling versus thinking. The inner voice feels more like a subtle knowing rather than a logical thought process. So your ego, your human mind, will want to tell you things and make things logical, like make it make sense. And the truth is, the inner voice and your soul is not linear. It doesn't go from A to B. It goes from A to Z, and it goes like this. So it might feel hard to harness down, but that's why the stillness is the practice. But the inner voice will feel somatic. Somatic meaning like you'll feel it in your nervous system. It feels like a gut feeling, like you just know. You can't explain it, but you know. That's the inner voice. That is your divine guidance. That is your heart-based intuition. It's not logical. And you don't have to explain it to anybody, and you might not be able to explain it even to yourself, because that's not how the human mind works. Our divine guidance is so infinite and so divine. It's literally of source, like source, God, creator. And who can explain creator? No one. No one can fucking explain it because it's so infinite. And God bless creator. Sorry for cussing, but no, I'm not. It's the way I express myself, and that's the whole point, is like your fullest expression, right? Okay, so the difference between fear and intuition. Fear is usually loud and anxious. We know that feeling. Thank you, Inside Out too, for distinguishing and helping us understand anxiety. It's a real thing. Your fear is usually loud and it's pushing you to react. Okay? Your inner voice is calm. Your inner voice meets you when you're calm and you have that persistent stillness. And when you have that persistent stillness, you're putting your body into that somatic remembrance. It's like, okay, you start remembering and you start knowing. In the practice, it gives your nervous system something to work with. Okay? But if your nervous system is always anxious and always reacting, then you're not going to know the difference. Okay? So your inner voice is calm, even when guiding you through discomfort or uncertainty. So you'll notice that when you're in an uncomfortable situation, once you practice enough and once you know what it is to feel that knowing, you can start trusting your inner voice. And your inner voice will not let you react. It will not let you. So that's how you decipher, okay? Okay, so that is how to recognize. And now I want to talk about the importance of the inner voice for personal growth. If in our experience, naturally, we are just bombarded initially as an infant or even as an embryo in the womb of like expectations, then it's not imprinted and embedded in our DNA to know what it feels like to be empowered. Your inner voice is helping you align to your true self. Listening to your inner voice instead of conforming to societal structures and expectations is hard, because our human nature is to want to belong. We want to be a part of the tribe. Since the primal days, it's not cool to not be like everybody else. So if that's why it's kind of deemed weird to be creative, because creative people have to really step out of that societal expectation and really trust their truth. And that's what the inner voice and authenticity is deeply connected with, is creativity. And so like it all goes hand in hand, and that's why I talk about being creative as well as authentic, because it's like the same thing, it goes hand in hand. So when you are more attuned to your inner voice, you're aligning more to your true self. And why isn't that important? Of course, it's self-explanatory. The more truth we bring to ourselves and in our lives, the more truth will be attracted to us. The more authenticity, the more authentic relationships, the more authentic career, creative projects, like the way we present ourselves and the way we interact with others is more authentic. And that just brings authenticity is love. So all we're doing is spreading more love. So why else is important for personal growth, for empowerment? Again, we are not all of us were born with innate empowerment. It goes back generations. Like, think about your ancestors and how you got here and what your parents were exposed to as far as empowerment. Yes, they've moved mountains, and God bless them and thank them for all of the challenges and struggles they went through for your good. But also, we are responsible now for empowering ourselves and for knowing what that feels like. And in order to do that, we really have to listen to that innate wisdom and guidance within. So I was saying empowerment. When you start following the path that is written for you, that is your divine purpose, instead of listening to external pressures, this goes back to harnessing truth as a collective and taking our power back. Okay, this is why it's so important. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the importance for spiritual growth. So I talk about channeling, and I talk about, angels, Akashic records, life and death. I have this very deep connection to my ancestors. I get vivid dreams of my grandma, and she has confirmed for me spirit and the spiritual realm, and we laugh about it in my dreams, in our connection. And I share this because the divine and spirit and God, I feel like there is a need of integrating it. I think learning about the body, just in normal human awareness and practice, there's that component that we all have that is all a part of us, that actually all makes us one, this light within, this sacredness, this holiness, this spirit that isn't integrated. And I understand why, because spiritual beliefs, practices, religions have created some division, separation, and confusion, in my opinion, to where it makes it difficult to conversate on it in a non-binary way, to where it can be generalized and spoken about with whoever, regardless of your religion. And it can also feel like that whole not being like everyone else, like not belonging because you're not doing as they do in the certain spiritual belief or religion that you're in. And that can feel really isolating and confusing too. But I'm here to integrate it all as a Christian, as a Catholic. And this is huge for me because even in the beginning of me understanding the Akashic Records, I was still very confused about how I was going to fit in. And I can truthfully say with excitement and with so much divine support that there is a way. There is such a beautiful way to integrate it and to bring it all together in full circle. What it is taking your experience and everything that you've learned, everything that you have gained and received from your spiritual past experiences, and it connects it all. It connects it all together. And it brings you into this more authentic, personally tailored practice of how you connect with God. And to me, that is far more beautiful and meaningful than it is to follow something XYZ just because it's written in the Bible and you have to do it that way. Like, no, that's not what God wants for you. God wants you to be authentic. And so understanding and following your inner voice leads you to that authenticity, spiritual authenticity, and it kind of helps you see people through the lens of love and through the lens of God, to where you don't feel separated from anyone. Like, someone can just be like, oh, this is what you should be talking about. You should be saying the rosary and speaking Jesus. And instead of reacting, you practice your stillness, your calmness, and your inner voice, your divine guidance, then translates it into from a place of love, and receives it from a place of love. And it's a beautiful thing because you can literally be a part of any spiritual group and see God and receive God and give God. And that is powerful. That is powerful, and that is oneness. So you're living with a higher sense of purpose, along with your connection to divine. You no longer feel like you're running the hamster wheel or just doing what you're expected to do, like I've said. You have this sense of fulfillment. You have this sense of connection with everyone, non-separation. And it's such a good feeling. The duality is real. You're always going to face human feelings. I'm not going to say, oh, love and light, work is great. All these challenges and all this trauma that I'm experiencing is great. No, it's still a human experience, but you are alchemizing it through your knowing, and that is powerful. Another way the inner voice guides you to spiritual growth is by transcending the ego. The ego is that human part of you that is going through everything. And in that, you're connected to compassion and humility. And so instead of reacting to others, instead of reacting to your experience, you are just observing. And if anyone wants to know what freedom is, it's that. It's living your life in observation. That is freedom. Okay, so we're learning all about the inner voice and why it's so important. You guys get that. So how can we practice strengthening the inner voice? Many ways besides meditation, journaling. Read The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. you're going to automatic write everything that's in your head, take 15, 20, 30 minutes to do this, get it all out, and that's your inner voice. And then you can kind of decipher and see where you're coming from. And it's okay if all you write is, I don't want to write. I feel like shit. I don't want to do this. Because if you keep going, your subconscious, your inner wisdom will start coming through, and more you will become clear with what's inside and what is wanting to come in. So it helps clear mental clutter and highlight your true inner guidance. Journal, write. It is so fun. You might get carpal tunnel, but there are ways around that. This is an important one, you guys, and I will never stop stressing the importance of this. Spend time in nature. Nature is who we are. We are nature. When we connect to nature, we're actually connecting to God. We're connecting to this part of us, this guidance. And it doesn't have to be fancy. Like, you don't have to go to Sedona. I'm going to talk about it in a whole episode, but you don't have to do that. You can go outside wherever you are. No matter where you are, you have access to nature because you have access to the sky. Get in nature. There's nothing that can replace that. I just remember in the beginning of my journey, amid my confusion of spirit and what this is, and like, oh my God, like, what is happening to me? Nature is so grounding. It's literally the ground, the earth, and some examples of how to connect. Get your bare feet on the grass or in the dirt. Feel the dirt. Sit with a tree. Sit on a tree. Connect with a tree. Talk to the tree. It is really healing, and there's just something about being in nature that allows you to just marvel at the creation that we are a part of. It's almost free energy healing, truly. Speaking of energy, another way to strengthen the connection to your inner voice is energy work. And when I say energy work, it also means prayer. It also means, like, it can translate to you as going to church and sitting there and praying your prayers, connecting to Jesus. Whatever it means to you, to God, you're also connecting to energy, life force energy, being God's source, the creator. And so energy is just kind of like this scientific way to put language to it so that we can integrate it all together, like making it more part of our experience, like Eastern, Western, all together, and making it more powerful. So practices like healing touch, Reiki, going to a Reiki healer, focusing on yourself, like EFT tapping, acupuncture, Chinese medicine, where they tap in literally to your chi, to your energetic system. This is what can help you balance your energy, open up your channels, your energy centers, the chakras, and in doing that, you are creating a clearer channel for your inner voice. If you are working on the chakras, the inner voice comes from your third eye. Your third eye is where your pineal gland exists, and the pineal gland is a gland that is literally connected to the universe. And that's why this whole knowing your inner voice actually is important, scientific, and spiritual. And again, leading you to more authenticity, leading us to the authentic world. The last point I want to make is how to trust your inner voice in major life decisions. This inner voice becomes your inner mentor and your guide. And the only part of you, the only person that will know what to do is the inner voice. Specific to you, unique to you. And if you don't know this part of you, then you're not going to lean on it, and you're going to keep listening to other things and other people. And instead of taking leaps of faith and yourself, you're going to keep yourself boxed in and small and afraid of change. This doesn't lead to your truth. This actually leads to turmoil and depression, anxiety. And so if you want a life that's more fulfilling, your inner guiding you to take those leaps of faith and to find that fulfillment through career shifts, spiritual journeys. You have the power to choose that. It's yours. And if you are having this, any kind of inner nudge, take the steps. Go in stillness, go in nature, journal, and you will know exactly what to do. Only you will know. Trusting your inner voice will help you overcome your own doubts and fears. This will naturally create a life of freedom. It can be really difficult to live a life in fear and in fight or flight and not really being fulfilled. Like, that is what depression is. And I think that the majority of the world is experiencing that. And so I just want you to take away the fact that your inner light, your inner voice is so unique and special, and that you are meant for greatness. You are meant for, and greatness doesn't have to be this big, lavish, complicated situation. Greatness can just simply mean freedom in your truth, in your authenticity, in your creative expression. This is what you deserve, and it's literally why you're here. So I am here to inspire that, and I'm going to continue to do that. I really hope that you took something away from this, even if it is just that you are important, you are beautiful, and you are a light, and you can take up space. And that leap of faith that is just waiting for you. You are on the cliff. You are just standing there at the precipice, and you are just ready to freaking jump. You deserve to do that, and you will jump into a beautiful, beautiful meadow of truth, of freedom, of creative expression. You deserve it. It might feel scary, but fear and excitement translate things, like palpitations, sweatiness, jitteriness. It's the same thing. So I want you to do all the things and to remember that, okay? You deserve fulfillment. You are here for a purpose, and I really hope that you come along this journey. I'm honored to have you, and I'm honored to be an agent in you finding your inner voice and listening to it. Love ya.